All right, guys, we're over here at our friend Ivan's house, and another one of the dirt bros. And what we're going to do is we're going to install a winch on his truck. 12,000 pound Badlands winch from Harbor Freight. As you can tell, they're already dropping a skid plate, and we're going to do a hidden winch mount and change it over from steel cable to synthetic line and make it look really nice, and change it over to this really cool thing. It's actually a Midwest Overland Industries winch mount. That's a hidden winch tray that's pretty beefy, and we got some good synthetic line, go rope and everything like that. So bear with us and we'll try to knock this out. You guys might remember this truck from the whippoorwill trip. Got a little bit of battle scars here on the rock rails, but totally worth it. And we also got his lights working up on top, which you can barely see. Yep, got this working. And now we're gonna put that winch under here, which skid plate's already down. And so we get to take this whole thing apart and make it look good. All right, guys, so I took out the wrong 3 bolts, and so that's why I stopped, so that I could show everybody what's going on here. So you have this bolt right here that actually runs across to a brace. And then you got 2 bolts right here that are also part of that brace. Well, if you actually look right here, you have 3 bolts. So you got the 1, 2, and then you got a 3rd one up here in that little corner. So I've been fighting these bolts and trying to get that bolt out. I just need to take out these 3. So glad that was caught before we made it too far, and I actually got to that last bolt right there. That was just a nightmare. So these are actually a 7mm, kind of tiny, so be careful, don't lose it and strip them off, because it's going to be a nightmare to fix. All right, so there's actually a bracket right here, 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 and here that have to be pulled, and they are held in by tabs that actually lock in right here. So I'll flip this over so you can see that was in the lower part of the grill. Whenever you push it right here, it's actually got tabs right here that run into these corners behind the grill. And from what we were told, you could actually pull this grill up and it would separate, but it doesn't actually look like it would. I think this grill is actually truly one piece. It's all glued. As you can see, pain in the butt.
Totally should have waited until I got that grill in.
Yeah, that's the sad part. That's they're your factory hooks.
Can I put the grill? Can I just like run with the grill off? Like, is it just snapped in and then 6 screws in the top?
I think so. We might be able to see if we can pull that grill out separately.
Yeah. I might just rest it in there for your video, you know, so it looks like it's complete.
Yeah.
But like not snap it in.
Yeah, that's fine. So as you can see, it comes actually all the way up here. So whenever you do take these off, you do have to pull the fender flares. They just snap in with those little white clips. So you can actually see them a little bit here. They just snap into the corners, but you do have to pull it because it does have this metal one. That's right there. All right, so you got bolts that run down the side of this thing. You have to take out. So you got 2 right here. You got 1 right there. You got another one right here. If you can actually see it, good, right there. You got 2 more on the side, same place as the other side. Up right there. Now you can see them good. And then whenever you come down here in the front, so you can see there's the top, here's the bottom. Then you've got a bolt right here. All right, so as you can see, once you get all those out, so you got the bottom one right here, you got 2 here, and then you got the 2 on the side of each one. And then whenever you take out these other brackets, you'll have bolts that are right there that actually hold that in. So those actually count as the 8. So now you have these little tabs that are sitting right here that you'll have to pick up on, and it will release that from the top so that you can actually pull it and then wiggle it its way out. It may take a little finesse, but once you do that, you can get it out. All right, and also a quick tip, make sure you unplug the sensor, and there's actually a little place that this comes through, this little hole. You'll see right there. If you do that, you'll pull it forward with holding these tabs right here up, trying to do it with one hand. You hold that up and you pull it out, and You do that on each one. Yeah, you'll have to push it down a little bit. Don't freak out. Just have somebody watch that for you, temp sensor, and you'll be good to go. And then once you do that, see it's actually free. Set that up here. And then you should be able to pull out this tab, this wire right here for the plug-in, which you'll see right here. It's about to disappear. If I can pull it through, you may have to squeeze it a little bit. Push it through the hole, and ta-da. So now that's out, and then you'll have that other wire that'll be held in right here for your temp sensor. You can actually unplug that right there, and it will be free. You can do it with one hand if you need to, maybe. So you can unhook it. Well, maybe. All right, so you can't do it with one hand. I'm an idiot. Go ahead, Justin, unplug that.
Yeah, but
unplug it, Justin.
Hey, Ivan, unplug that.
Hey, Ivan, unplug that.
It's in there. Hey, Matt, unplug that.
There we go. It's a little stiff. All right, so you also have 4 15 millimeters that run right here and here. Ivan just took one of those out. You gotta take those out for this bumper brace right here. So whenever you take that out, then you'll be able to get this free. So you got this one more.
This is gonna fall, isn't it?
We'll try to catch it a little bit here. So. You have to go up and over because it will catch on those brackets. But there's your bumper brace. And then now that's what the front will look like. Go ahead and clean out the leaves while you're in there and stuff. If you're like us and like to bash the shit out of everything.
Did you hit a little bird? It even had yellow. What the hell?
But yeah, and then that's all that. It's got some foam blocks right here that are actually keep this quiet and keep it from chattering up against plastic and everything. Because when plastic hits, made a little beep. It's super obnoxious, and there's some dirt in here as well. But all in all, not too bad, just time consuming. All right, so now you can take off your recovery hooks because you're going to use these bolts on both sides. I'm going to show you just because some people just don't understand. You can pull these little covers off right here. They're just foam, nothing to them really. And they just go like that. They run all the way through. It'll be a 16 millimeter. 18. Or 18, I'm sorry. 18 millimeter. And they just run all the way through. So. Oh, sorry. No, you're good. So we'll go ahead and pull this cover off while he's doing this. And they pretty much just zip right off. They do thread all the way through, so. Ta-da, tow hook. Okay, so whenever you put the hooks back in with the longer bolts, the hooks will go to the frame first, and then you'll have the plate actually bolt in right here, as you can see right there. And so this is when you put your winch plate on, right after you take those hooks off. Everything, which you can see there's the front of it. It's a little open. It's kind of dark in here, sorry. But now you got your winch plate on and everything. Don't tighten it up all the way because you may have to adjust a little bit, and you'll probably have to trim right here just a little bit as well on this valance. If you're okay with leaving it slightly tucked up, you can do that too. But as you see, it does hit, and whenever you pick up on it, it will pinch it up a little bit. It's just an air dam. It's rubbery, so you don't have to actually freak out by that. Okay, and then once you get those loosely put in there, it's because you got to pick up on this thing a few times to get these bolts in right there. So, one right there and one at the top on each side. Put those in tight first, then you can tighten up these bottom tow hooks. Oop. And then once you get these back in, then you can Put your foam block back over. All right, so we got the bumper brackets in and everything now, and everything's tightened up, and you got the mount and everything already squared away. Go ahead and put your winch on. And once you wire it up here to the battery terminals and everything. Try to make it as clean as you can. Makes it a lot easier to work on if there is something wrong. I've got a flashlight down here right now, and I'm actually changing this over from cable to a synthetic line, which is wrapped up everywhere right now. But go ahead and spool this in nice and clean, as neat as you can. Take your time. Don't just hold it the whole time. Let it cool off some as it's running, because it is fresh and it is a new winch. So that's all you got to do. Just run it in with the remote and make it look clean. All right, so we got a template. We drilled 2 pilot holes from the back side. We felt through. Once the bumper was on, we just pre-fitted it on there. We put 2 screws in here just to hold this with the pilot holes with the template that comes with it. And we're gonna like make sure it's straight. We're gonna measure it out and stuff. Make sure it's pretty. I use the grease from my fingers to actually line this up with the bolt holes on the actual fair lead. I just laid that paper over the back side, which is what this matches up to, and I rub my fingers over it so that I could make sure I got a good clean hold actually whenever I go to drill it and stuff. It's got that on it. So now Ivan's actually going to make sure this is all pretty and straight, because it is on his truck and he's a little meticulous, which I don't blame him. So that's what we got to do, and then we can cut this off, and then we can actually run everything back through here. We can run that through the fair lead, put the hook on it, and the winch is ready to go. It does work. We've already tested that. Then we got to put this fascia kind of inner grill piece. It's got the sensors and stuff in it. We may look at see if we can delete it. Maybe, I don't know yet. It just depends on how it is, because there is a screw that does hold right here. We may just pull this clip out. It just depends on if it's floppy or not, or whatever we want to do. And everything will mount right there back. And we actually don't have to put a few little things back in like this. We ended up cutting, which I'll put a light on it so you can see a little better. Which right here, I don't know if you can see it, it's clear, but there is a little rubber grommet piece that runs all the way through. It's like a little wind deflector. I said previously that you can leave it, and this is what we decided to do, because it does block a little bit of dirt coming in and hitting the radiator and rocks and stuff, bouncing on like dirt roads. It is flexible down to a certain point, then it's kind of hard. So what we did was we took a razor, we cut it down along the line of the plate, and then I took some shears and I cut through, and you'll see it on this side as well. I cut it all the way down through there, and it runs down, and there we go. But as you can see, like from under here, right here's the bottom of the plate, and then it runs in, and you got that guard right there, and it will protect underneath there. So that's why we wanted to keep that, to keep rocks from coming in, because here's your condenser and stuff, and there's a little bracket right here, and that runs down in there, and that'll keep the dirt and everything from getting up in that condenser and keeping it nice and pretty. The outer layer's gonna cover it. So you trust me to cut this? We're putting this on camera. Do you trust me to cut this?
Let's do it.
All right. I do have some expertise in cutting shit and making it look stupid. Point in case he let me cut his Jeep. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna let Justin hold this so we can get the reaction of Ivan crying. No, it's not. See, that's why you test. That is horrible. All right, we have the Yeet Master 5000 right here. We're going to do a test cut first, once again. That works perfectly. You can actually see the line through it on the other side. That's awesome. That's what I was saying. I love this blade. Just remember, whenever you're cutting, it doesn't always have to be perfectly to the line the first time. you do want to be able to leave yourself a little bit of room for air. So as you see here, I've got that pretty much all the way through. It's only being held right here. I can push this down. That way I can actually feel around, make sure I'm not hitting any obstructions. Like if there was something in the plastic you are cutting, and it also gives you enough room that you can actually go through here, and it keeps everything a little bit stiffer instead of it being as flimsy once you cut. It doesn't have to be exactly 100% perfect because it does get covered by the fair lead, but you also got to keep in mind this does actually hold the back side of the fair lead, and you do want it to fit snug so it doesn't have any vibrations or look wonky, and if you take it off it's going to look like dog crap. So it is good to have it nice and straight. Once you finish that and you clean it up a little bit, I use your files and razor just to make sure it looks nice and pretty. That way you can actually run your fingers across it without it cutting you up. Test fit, make sure it's close, which I may have to take just a tad bit more out, but I do want it to be tight because I don't want it to really, I don't want to take out too much and it be a perfect fit the first try, because then it's a little sketchy if you do that. And personal thing, so like here I can take out just a little bit, or I can take it out of either side. I knew it was going to be pretty close. It's perfect top and bottom, so that I know that my corners need to be adjusted just a hair, and then we're good to go. So I'm going to trace that out, and then put this back on. I've only got 2 screws in it here, and you do not use this inner valance right here that runs with that. You're going to have to zip tie up your temp sensor in the front wherever you feel like you're most comfortable with placing it. You don't use that little valance right there, that little air duct. That's inside the grill. You can actually see the winch right here up front. We'll run this light across it. But yes, you can actually see the spool. You can actually still reach your controls. So for those that think you just have to use the remote the whole time, I'm 6'5", I've got big hands, and I can actually still, I can put my hand on this and actually put it in free spool if I need to, and I can get my hand up here on the control switch to actually put the remote in. So you can actually do that, and you'll see where I've cut this to make this fit. Let me widen that up a little bit, but you can actually see where that's cut. You can actually see the bowl holes, and whenever we put the fair lead on here, then we'll hook the hook onto it and it'll be good to go. Finally got some stuff wired up. We got the new lights up top on this thing, which are insanely bright. Sorry about that, but yeah, looks good. Lights up everything. Turn them off. That's just headlights. That's what you would see driving. Now hit it, and that's on. Quite a big difference. Camera doesn't really do it justice, but it, yeah, super bright. Well, all right, guys, that's it for us. Ivan and Justin and myself, Matt. it's been a long day. Lots of work with this. It does take a while because it is an ice truck and you want to do everything correctly. Very tight tolerances. I think we're going to call it a night and everything's done. So thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. There'll be more stuff like this, maybe a little bit better detailed, and trying to figure this out as we go. But bear with us and hopefully keep watching. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.